We're live.
All right. Back at it.
What's going on there, Mr. Sunny Day in Florida? What's doing
Man,
over there?
I'm sweating, dude. I'm sweating.
Sweating.
My
That's 'cause you're
pasty
in the midst of
self
my
in Florida,
greatness.
man. I'm burned up. I got
Oh,
burned
dude.
up yesterday.
Florida's gonna chew you up. Just
It is. You know how pale I am? Man, I'm red as this shirt. Look at that. That is not a color adjustment.
No.
That's real.
No. You're good.
I ain't made for this weather.
Okay. Well, I want to do something real quick. Okay.
All right.
Well, first of all, this show is unofficially brought to you by Axis IPA. Because we're in the midst of hunting season, right? So
that we are.
Yeah. It's a nice golden mead.
Yeah, usually you drinking the dark beer.
Hey, man. I love all colors.
Yeah. Somebody says congrats on the big news.
That's
I wonder what big news they're talking about.
And I wanted to say cheers to Brian. Because he got engaged.
Thank
you. He got engaged. Dr. Pepper. Oh my God.
Man, it's hot out here, man. It's hot out here.
It calls for bigger drinks, sir.
I know, man. I'm like, I was loading some stuff up like 2 minutes before I got on with you. Like, I had an alarm set on my phone. It beeped. I got to go. Grab my iPad, jumped on here. So I'm sweating and everything, dude.
Man. Okay.
But yeah, thank you. Thank you to whoever is the Facebook user that said congrats on the big news.
Oh, by the way, if you guys get on the Cryptoholics page, and comment, then this will be a lot easier too.
Yes.
Anyways, so
figure that out.
So tonight we have Shelly Reed and Bama Murdock, and they just had a pretty cool weekend. Was that last weekend? Yes. Was it last weekend?
I believe so.
No,
or weekend before, wasn't it?
Weekend before. It was a weekend before.
So. Yeah.
At the LBL. So let's find out what transpired, shall we? What's up, guys?
Man, Shelly's got like a whole studio.
I know, man. What's going on in there?
I'm so jealous.
It's like David Copperfield's going to come out of the background or something over
there. Man, I need a mic.
My goodness.
I've already said something to her about that.
Did you?
I said, here I am sitting on a stool and, at my bar. And, she's in there. And I think that's Mark's professional studio there.
Oh, okay.
Right. TV studio.
It does look familiar.
That is a professional looking studio. Man, you're making my wish of dreams. I got to make a list now. Let's see.
For Christmas, right?
Yeah. Santa Claus, bring me Shelly Reed's studio.
There you go.
So you guys were out at the Land Between Lakes, right? Never been out there.
Halloween weekend.
Mm-hmm. Halloween weekend. Okay.
Yeah.
No, you're good. That's Kentucky, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
And y'all were doing a meet and greet with all your folks, which sounds like a blast, by the way.
Yeah, you guys should have come. It was awesome.
I've already joked. I've told Shelly, I go, man, you're going to do all the talking. You realize that, right?
No.
and even Spencer said, man, I'm going to tell Shelly she's got to do all the talking on here. But
I'll answer the easy questions.
Oh. We're pretty easy. This is a pretty laid back platform.
Yeah, we're not very fancy. So I could barely hear Shelly. I don't know if it's just me or.
Oh, I can hear her good.
Okay.
Okay, it may just be me then. So
it's on your head, dude.
Literally.
That was our meet and greet, our first meet and greet, and it was fun. I mean, I always say this. It's fun when you meet someone and they walk up and they say, I'm so-and-so, and you don't know them by their name, but when they say their name on Facebook,
mm-hmm.
Off the YouTube chat or something,
mm-hmm.
then, man, a big smile just comes on your face. And we had a pretty good crowd for a Halloween, weekend.
Yeah.
I said, man, you almost have some mad kids back home, or somebody's taking them trick or treating or something for them to come from there. But no, I thought it was, man, it was great.
Very cool.
How many
So
people
who
did you guys get to
organizes
come?
that? Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
You go ahead.
How big was your turnout?
Go on, Shelly.
You know what? I never counted heads. We counted the dogs and everybody, so we had quite a few pets there. So
Yeah.
it was over 25 people. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
for
a
some
good
reason I
crowd,
can't hear
though.
Shelly at all. I guess it's just
That's a
me.
good
So-
crowd.
Yeah, it's a pretty good crowd. It was just the right size. You know, it was enough people to have a good crowd, or, you know, a lot of people to talk to and meet, but it wasn't too big to where you couldn't get everybody around the campfire and get around and meet everybody. And, you know, we could get everybody in the campground too. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
and everybody was
cool.
kind of, if you look down the main road that went down the middle, you know, it was,
Mhm.
people were just kind of scattered out. But, you know, it was never, you'd think with us, with this group, you know, but it was really quiet. You know, I mean, I think I was the one up the earliest every morning, but it was quiet. And I mean, it actually, it was a lot more tame than I thought it was going to be.
So is this a place that you guys usually frequent separately, or?
I'd never been there before. And, you know, of course, we've always talked about how it really is I'll let Shelly elaborate on this in a minute. I don't even know who picked the campground, maybe Larry or Mark or one of them, just because they're around LBL all the time. Because with the virus going on, it's hard to find a place. You know, we were even going to pay for a campground for ourselves and just our group. We weren't able to do that. So,
Wow.
you know, I'm not even sure if they knew. Maybe 2 weeks before we had it, maybe was. I didn't know. I didn't know before then.
Well,
actually,
listen.
Larry and Debbie did a lot of the leg work. They had, you know, we had planned it at one point. We had to kept moving the date because of, you know, various things, the virus and being shut down and everything. But Larry and Debbie Jones and Larry Porch the second, they did all the legwork really, because Larry lives nearby and she comes up from Texas, and you know it's a beautiful place to go anyway. But we've camped there before a lot, and some other of the campgrounds, you know, and some of the backcountry camping. So you know we're familiar with the area. And there's a private campground there that you can rent, but it was closed that weekend. I think it had opened the next weekend. So we're going to try to maybe look into that next time, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's a little more private. You know, there's not people coming in or anything.
Yeah, that sounds outstanding right there. For sure. So when does Larry, since he frequents that area a lot, does he ever, I guess he does have a little bit of activity and whatnot. You guys, Debbie, you work hard out there, I know, and all the areas that they're in to get the evidence that they have. So now I want to ask you guys this because, you know, we've found tracks. You know, what is that noise? Is that you, Brian? Is that you, Bama?
I don't think.
I don't hear anything.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's in my head. Anyways, so you know, we have also found tracks in a totally different area and totally different looking track. What was going through? Well, how did you get to that point? I mean, I know I heard it on Beats TV, but you were one of the ones that actually saw the tracks first of all, right? So you're walking up on this area, and then boom, you just notice the track, or was it a feeling?
No, actually, the first day we were there, it was just Mark, Larry, and I. We were setting up camp early to make sure, you know, everything was in order. There was nobody around, kind of check out the place. So, while they were setting up camp, it was getting dark. It was still raining. You know, it rained for a couple of days before the weekend, a lot. And so I had walked down to the lake because, I always like to take pictures, look for rocks and things. And so I had found in the water's really low. There was like a mud flat in the bottom of the lake there. The shore is like really rocky, I guess, where they dump rocks around the boat dock or whatever. And I noticed some prints there near the campground, but they were only one size. I thought somebody had let their kid run around in the mud, in the, the glass and the hooks and everything in the lake. I was curious, but I didn't see anything that would, raise any red flags. You're even if you're not looking, you're always looking. In the back of your mind, you're still looking. But I headed on back because the guys didn't really know I left, and I didn't want to be gone too long. So we went back. It was getting dark anyway. Went back to camp, and I had said something later that night about, there's somebody's walking around in the mud down there, letting their kid running around in the mud in October. Can I describe the mud? Oh, sorry. I was reading can I describe the mud flat? Oh, a mud flat. Oh, it's just where the bottom of the lake is, just really muddy area. There was like a little, the lake is uneven on the bottom. There was like a little sandbar in the middle of the inlet. And there was just like a little low spot. And it was the deepest, muddiest part where the footprints were. I just thought that was curious that, somebody had let their kid do that. And there were no prints anywhere else because there were too many rocks. So anyway, I went back and told the guys that,
sort of like that. Talking about that area.
That's on the other side. When the next day that I found those.
Oh, okay.
But then, so there's some on either side. That the first ones I found were, like I said, one size. I didn't see any large prints. You always look, and I thought, well, it looks funny, but I'm not sure, so I'm just gonna let it sit. Then the next day, I had walked around the lake with Patrick Noble. We were just sightseeing, taking pictures, looking for rocks and things, and that was on the other side of the inlet. And it's same thing. First of all, we had run across the small prints in the mud. We were up on the rocks, and there was a bunch of small ones in them. I was like, oh, I saw those over there, and we were looking at them and having a big discussion. And then we kept walking on down, and there was a tree out towards the water. It was over across the shore, and he had walked on ahead, and I was walking around that tree. And I just happened to look down, and like 2 inches from my foot, there was a print, a big one. And I called Patrick. I said, well, could you come back here and tell me what this is? What do you think this is?
Yeah.
So that was it. We found more after that. So
you found small ones too, right? Small ones?
Yeah, a lot. Yes.
Wow. That is so wild.
Yeah.
How many tracks did you guys find in total?
Oh, gosh, Bama. How many? I don't know. I didn't count them. Too many to count.
Don't throw me in the fire yet.
There weren't very many large ones. I'm guessing the large footprint being stayed on the shore. The smaller footprints were out further in the deeper part of the mud towards the water, and they were just everywhere. But the main track, the large prints we found were along the shore. They weren't as deep. Those small ones were. Some of them were this deep. They were 5-6 inches deep.
Playing out there or something, huh?
Mm-hmm. Or looking for mussels or whatever. There's a lot there. Yeah. They I don't know. So we didn't find as many of the big ones, large ones, but we found a lot of little ones.
So it's almost like the large one. I mean, I'm just being skeptical, but it's almost like the large one was just kind of like walked and said, all right, do your thing. You're a kid. Holy crap. Let's get your thing done and let's get back. Kind of thing.
And one of the coolest things we found, I'm sure Bama's going to talk about this, was one of the large prints. It had a small print. They were toe to toe. We have pictures of those. I don't know if you got them or not, but they're just right there together. I just thought that was so interesting.
They were like toes to toes?
Yes.
That's cool.
Like right in front, not touching, but right like an inch or two, Bama, I think.
Yes.
Wow.
I was going to say this. somebody had asked about that, a mud flat or a sandbar. The thing I noticed when I first got there was that where we camped at, the sun would shine on our camp the whole time. The sun was in your eyes all the time. Uh, because when I first went over there and looked at those tracks, and this is how my brain works. Sorry.
You're good.
I wondered why it was so rocky on this side, uh, and why the tracks were so deep on this side and it was so muddy on that side. And you quickly figured out that the sun never hit that other side. It was just in the shade all the time. And we had Shelley, didn't we have the most beautiful sunsets every
Oh
night
yeah,
there? Oh,
it's very scenic. Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. Um, but I noticed when I went down the first time, on our side, it was almost like pea gravel down there on the shore. But man, there was some real ankle buster rocks, because the water, they let it down intentionally this time of year, very low. It's great if you go there and hunt like I have for years, because you, instead of, bushwhacking your way through the woods, carrying a tree stand on your back, you walk along the shore. But I was kind of looking at that first. When I first went over there, I'll go ahead and say this, Shelley, I want you to jump in at any time.
Sure.
When I wasn't there for 15 minutes and had set up my camp, and I had kind of made references as we were planning this at the end of, I'd kind of like to be off down on the end by myself somewhere. I like to hang out with Moose. He's very social. That's my dog. But, I just kind of like to chill out down there. Well, as fate would have it, the tracks, literally, I had a straight line of view all the way across there to that side. And the water was down so far that it was even so hard and rocky on one part of it with gravel that I think somebody had taken a car out there and did some donuts or something. Or had driven a pickup truck out onto that flat and had maybe fished out of the back of that pickup truck.
That was
And the
Larry
reason
Porch too. Larry Porch too.
Well, I'm saying that because you really can look up in there, and there's cypress trees and stuff that usually are there's usually a few feet of water there. You could tell that there had been, but all of a sudden you come to this little clear running creek that comes in there. Isn't that right, Shelley?
Yes.
And it has the clearest water and a little bit of a sand to it coming in, and it just comes down from out of the woods. And it had the prettiest, smoothest rocks. Because I'm like, me and Shelley have been camping at LBO together before. I mean, really back in the woods, camping, and
Haul your
we're,
stuff in camping.
yeah, and we're rock hunters and stuff. So it didn't surprise me Anyway, let me say this. On the other side of that little creek, I mean, it just was a muddy mess. And what wasn't a muddy mess was a muddy mess obscured by a layer of leaves. Because, I mean, really all the leaves were really coming off the trees up there. And the wind, holy mackerel. I mean, the wind was nuts the whole time. All to say that within 15 minutes, somebody had come to my camp down there and told me, did you hear they found some tracks? Well, I'm OCD, so I want to get my tent and stuff set up first. That's just me.
I got stuff to do, man.
Yeah, I really wanted to get my stuff set up, and but I was kind of, because really, I mean, let's be honest. I've seen some of the tracks that y'all found. I've seen, video and stuff like that. And I mean, if somebody says, hey, I found a track, normally you think, maybe it's a indention in some pine straw or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that's not easily discernible as a track. And
Yes.
I'm so sorry I felt that way. And I wasn't discrediting anyone by thinking they hadn't found a good track. But eventually, I went over there with someone I knew by name, but I had never met before. This must be Spencer Jameson.
No,
I'm
it says Shelley Reed.
Oh, is it?
Shelley said that.
Because I'm not really reading. But anyway, one of the Pajerski brothers took me over there, and this is a guy by the name of Jerry Pajerski took me over there. And when I looked across there, it was just a mess. There's lots of boot prints and human boot prints and tracking it up. But somebody had at least put a stick down, some markers along 2 or 3 really good ones. And I went out there and looked at them. And I'd never spoken in person to Jerry before. And believe it or not, I'm actually pretty quiet around people I don't know, especially in person. So there wasn't a lot of, well, what do you think? Or, any of this type of stuff. I mean, I'm doing that in my brain. My brain's doing that for me, And like I said, I looked at those the 2 tracks that I first looked at, and I was just like, oh man, I just had to shake my head. I just thought do we really want to get off into this? And this is going to be one of the poorest analogies that I could come up with. But if anybody's ever read the book, you would understand this. In Meldrum's book, Sasquatch Legend Meets Science, I always tell people that if you only read the first chapter where he finds the tracks or somebody takes him to a trackway, if you only read the first chapter of that book, then that's really all you need. If you kind of don't believe after that, I don't know. I don't understand what else would have to give you. But I felt like Meldrum standing on the bank of the LBL. And I just looked at those things and I just thought that now I believe. I know they're out there. I mean, I have people that I trust, that I know be honest with me, that have seen them. But when you're looking at a real good set of tracks, I'm still that person in my mind that I go, wow, man, that maybe there was one here. I mean, I'm standing right where one was standing. And this may be the closest I ever get.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So I kind of went through that, but I didn't say anything. I went back and started trying to get my camp organized again. But anyway, Shelley, go ahead.
Well, I just while you were talking, I was thinking, isn't it funny? You guys probably go through this. When you see something, the first thing, well, one of the first few things I think is, I've got to get somebody here to validate what I'm seeing. Am I really seeing what I'm seeing? Come here and tell me this. I think it's always that a disbelief at first.
I bet you're still thinking about it right now. Like it's just,
It's just taking a while to sink in because I don't know. It was just one of those things that you stumble upon because I wasn't really looking, but I was kind of, like I said, in the back of my mind, but I wasn't out there at the moment looking for anything intentionally. And, I wanted to hit on this with Bama is what a coincidence that all those people were there when we found those tracks.
Yeah.
I'm sure people are like, this is a setup, right? This was planned.
Yeah. I'm telling
I
you,
know people think that.
like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes.
It happens. Yes.
Well, what's funny is nobody really said that much about it, or,
Right.
you know, I mean, nobody's standing out there with their arms over each other's shoulders, you know, taking pictures and pointing.
Like you're on the ground,
So,
like
yes,
taking a picture by it.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Uh, you know, and like are some of these old crime scene photos. I mean, the thing they
Chalk
used for
outline.
scale was a person just
Oh,
standing
yeah.
there, you know, you know, pointing. uh, but there wasn't any of that, and I think it's because everybody had got there and everybody was so new, and uh, sort of in the back of my mind, I was thinking, man, I really was thinking, okay, those are old. Because I knew how many days it rained. I thought somebody has gone to not even great lengths to hoax us. Uh,
Because they knew you guys were coming out there.
well, that's the thing is we were very careful about where we went and letting people know where we went, but it wasn't for any reason. I mean, well, we just wanted to go camp someplace where everybody we knew was, you know, somebody we knew, and but you know, I'm like Shelley, I'm mulling over in my mind, and everybody went and did their thing that night. I don't know why. I was tired, and I've been out boogering with them before at LBL, where we've been out. Oh gosh, I don't even remember half the weekend because we're just out all night, and you know, just going from place to place and doing calls and stuff like that. But a lot of the people at the meet and greet, they took several of them uh, out doing calls, and they stayed out till I think y'all rolled in at 2:30 in the morning. Because I'm a light sleeper, I hear everything. So I don't know if anybody really had a chance to talk about it or whatever. But of course, me, I was up first thing in the morning because I heard a car uh, pull in, you know, to camp early in the morning. I don't know if I told Shelley and them this, but it pulled down there to where you kind of walk off to go onto that flat to go across there. Well, I could look across there and see the sticks, you know, sticking up where the tracks were at. And I thought, I wonder what this guy's doing. He put on some heavy, you know, big, like some muck boots or something. And I seen him get out with a tripod and a bag and a bag. And across there he went. And I just thought, I thought, man, I wonder if he found these tracks before. And man, he's come back over here to, you know, take some pictures, you know, all professional like on the tripod, you know, and all that. But what it was, man, he wasn't there 2 minutes, and a couple of bald eagles started fishing that little area there. And I watched him go all around there and I was kind of sitting there going, oh man, I hope he didn't, you know, go track up those tracks. But there was already, oh God, hundreds of boot prints and stuff around that. But when he got done, I eased down there with the dog. And once I figured out what he was doing, and I said, well, man, did you get any good ones this morning or something along that line? And he goes, and we kind of carried on a conversation about, you know, him, you know, shooting pictures of those bald eagles. And I said, you ever get anything else interesting? And he goes, oh, I get all kinds of stuff. I wanted the guy to go, oh, I saw some magnificent tracks over there a little while ago. But you know, I thought about it, and I think the next day I had a chance to go over there, or maybe it was that evening after Jerry took me. But that's when I really sat on the bank there and pondered all the different avenues, you know, that we could take with this. And I don't know if Shelley and them was thinking about that, or I think they really were being very attentive to all the people at our meet and greet. Because, you know, we had a lot of people there that had driven a long way. but I kind of, man, I mulled it over. And I mean, really, like anybody else, it was a horrible scene to try to go over there and cast. And if you were going to try to work it like a crime scene, it was horrible. But I just said, I don't even know who I said it to, but I said, somebody should cast those. I said, I mean, some of them they should. And what's odd is, I think we may have some pictures of the cast or something, but I always say that a picture, I don't downplay people's pictures when they send them in of footprints or casts or something, because, man, the picture just never, the picture never shows what your eyes are seeing really that well. And some of these were really good prints. Now, when I say print, I'll always say this, and me and Mark and Debbie and all of us that were there discuss this. When I say print, I'm saying that it's either a Bigfoot footprint and maybe a juvenile or two, or it's somebody that has some really good ones and to strap on and go across there. But I just said, no, I think you should cast those. I mean, anything of evidentiary value, man, you take it. Just you do it, and it wouldn't matter if we had cast those, and we saw her go around the corner with a little one there. It's still,
Well, we did the best we could with what we had. Yeah.
There you go.
I mean,
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
we were out in the middle of nowhere. We used to carry casting material all the time, and that stuff gets heavy. It gets in the way. We had everything loaded up. And Debbie and I had to go to Kentucky, up in Kentucky, we bought everything they had. Believe me, we would have cast almost every one of them if we could.
Like, these ladies are going to make some paper mache statues.
Yeah, I'm sure they were wondering what we were doing.
Well, and the funny thing was Debbie was dressed up in a Halloween costume, so she was dressed up like a deer, and she had antlers and face paint on. And when she walked,
awesome.
when she walked through camp, I think it was Mark. He goes, Debbie, it's hunting season, don't you?
I know.
And everybody just died laughing. But Shelley, y'all probably drove 80 miles round trip to go get that.
Yeah, it was fun. I got to spend time with Debbie. She's always got good stories, so we had a good
You
time.
guys were on a mission.
Yeah, it was great.
Wow.
I'm sure that Shelley thought about it. And I mean, look, I was nobody in this. I'm a guest at the meet and greet. But that's just how my mind works. And I think they probably knew that. And I just thought about it, and I thought, man, this is something too good not to. I mean, this is something that you have to do.
Well, we relied on Bama's expertise too with crime scenes and things, because I mean, we didn't know what we were. Well, you kind of have common sense about things, logical thinking and everything.
Yes.
But he really added
common
to it.
Well,
Common sense.
Love it.
I almost try to think back. Well, before Shelley and Patrick got over there, I wonder, a mid-tarsal break there. I wonder how many human boot prints and stuff were already over there, even before Shelley and them went over there. Because, I mean, I would have, it's possible. People walked around there. I did want to say this, and Shelley can attest to this, and some of the video can. The next day, the wind blew so hard that it blew a lot of that leaf litter off, and there was more prints there. So with the material.
You totally just.
Yeah, some were fresher than others because
Brian's theory.
It rained so much. Some of them were degraded. I mean, you could tell they were caving in. They were rough around the edges. And some of them, like the larger ones we found, the toe prints were so fresh looking. I mean, and they had leaves blown into them, but they did look like they were different ages, definitely.
Yeah.
It really looked like some of that leaf litter kept them from taking a beat of rain for a couple of days, because that was the end of like one of the hurricanes.
Man.
I mean, that's the rains they caught up there. But I think that preserved
So
them a little.
that's a pretty much similar situation to what we have. So if these tracks get laid and we find them, then we found them in time. Because if not, you're going to have the elements, you're going to have nature, and they're going to trample the crap out of it. It's going to be gone. It's like it never was there.
And
So.
water's the worst. I mean,
Oh God,
water destroys stuff more than anything. But but I told Mark and them, I said the really good prints. I mean, this really was one of those that, gosh, I wish I'd have had the little markers to have marked every indentation, because you could have actually seen the trackway, all the way up the bank there, I think.
So give me an estimate, like about how many do you think there were, like as far as the big one goes? Because I'm assuming you're saying that it uncovered some of the big ones tracks, or was it more of the smaller ones?
Shelly, what do you think first?
Well, there were definitely more of the juvenile prints. The larger prints were up closer to the shore. We didn't have nearly as many. I think we cast about 5 or 6 of them. There were still some left over because we ran out of casting material. We did the good ones first. And by that time, once it had gotten around the point, towards the point, it was rocky at that point. So there were no more tracks to be had. But I don't know how many there were. I really didn't. I couldn't.
Wow.
I was too much in shock to count every single one of
What's
them.
great is you guys actually saw these in sequence, left, right, or whatever. That's like the best, It's
And if you can,
outstanding.
If you can kind of picture it like this, if you were looking up if you were looking, parallel just up that muddy bank, the first tracks that you would have ran across were the small ones. They actually came down out of the woods first.
Oh, look at there. There were at least 15 small prints. Wow.
Oh yeah, there was a lot.
Okay. Hey, Brian, this kind of leads me to think about when we were out in Mountain Fork River, right?
Very
And
similar.
we pulled over and we saw some small 5-toe tracks, and we tracked them all the way down the bank for a while.
Yeah, about 100 yards, if I remember right.
Yeah. And they ended up circling a persimmons tree, which is bears fruit. Huh. But later in that day, actually, it wasn't even later. It was just a little bit after that. We got back in our kayaks, canoes, and we headed towards an area we call the Rock Bar, because it's literally like an island of rocks. Well, across the Rock Bar, Brian notices these huge gouges that are spaced out farther than a human.
Yep.
Right? And it went across the Rock Bar. So, in coincidence on what we're finding and seeing, was there a little one that goes over here on the bank? Was that the big one hauling ass across the Rock Bar saying, "Don't go down to the persimmons tree because it's not October yet"?
Can't eat that fruit. Yeah.
Yeah. So that all y'all's investigation and what y'all found, it kind of reminds me of that day.
Yeah, our little tracks were a lot smaller. I think they were what?
Oh, they were tiny, man.
5 inches long, maybe.
Yeah,
real small. So
it might have been like, "Get your little ass over here."
More than likely.
Like that.
So.
And I love sharing this too, because we can compile our information and share it, and maybe find more answers.
This is outstanding. Wow.
When Shelly, she showed me all the little ones that she found. I mean, even on the side of the bay where camp was at, and the man, they were deep in the mud. I mean, they were down in there, but it wasn't if I had saw those, I wouldn't have really thought anything odd about them, except the middle of the foot. I guess what they call the mid-tarsal break or whatever. But it had it looked like a normal arch in your foot, but it was all the way across, wasn't it, Debbie? I mean, Debbie.
Hey.
Shelley?
Oh, he called me somebody else's name.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Where's my squirt bottle at? Where you at,
I'm
Bam? Let me
just-
get my squirt bottle. Goodness.
He was
yeah,
probably
that's-
reading her name.
Yeah. No, that was what I noticed. So that's kind
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
Shelley.
thought I saw footprints. The small ones. That's why I had so many questions about the smaller ones, because the hill was narrow and there was an
Yeah.
arch, and it looked. I don't know. It was different, but it
Strange.
wasn't. You can't ever say 100%.
You know,
But
you
they
always
just-
see people posting like juvenile prints and whatnot, and yeah, they do look weird, and they always look like they have a really narrow heel
Yes.
or something like that. The anatomy's something similar to that. Let me ask you something real quick though. So when you saw the tracks of the big and the little, like close enough together, toe to toe or whatever, where was that in the track line? Was that at the end, or where did it like
was about in the middle, Bama? Wasn't
The
there
middle?
like a one or two, and then
If
it was
you-
like the second or third one in, wasn't it?
If you look at any of the pictures I think you've put a picture up there of it already, where you can see two tracks together with a large log sticking out, and that log was a tree that was up in the woods that fell out into the bay and has rotted. It's probably underwater most of the time. Big old log, big tree. But if you'll look at that one, we cast two. I'm trying to think, because there's so many we're trying to get.
this one
Right
here,
before
Bama?
we got
Talking about this right
Yeah,
here with this
that's
log
the
right here?
Yes. Now, though, I think those were the last two in the whole trackway, taken from maybe 60 yards away. But on the other side of that log, we cast two, and those are a couple that there's pictures of oh gosh, John Garrison cutting chicken wire and putting in it. Well,
Yes.
I want to say that it was oh gosh, I tried to pull those two tracks together. I tried to take them out together. But I want to say it was a right footprint where there was a small footprint. Oh gosh, 4 inches from it, really deep in the mud. It was neat to look at.
They look deep.
Yeah, I mean, now that area there, the mud was nasty there,
Yeah.
wasn't it, Shelley?
Yeah,
I mean,
and it
so
was
did-
actually at the end of that log is where we to the right. It was where we cast those two prints. I mean, they were everywhere,
Right over
but
here?
the ones together,
Yeah.
up further up,
Up
closer
here.
to the lake. Yeah,
That's right.
that
Okay.
way.
So maybe it was mom picking him up and going, don't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't-
And I thought it was interesting because the big prints went around the end of the log instead of right there where the casts are sitting. It was high enough to sit on. You had to sit on it and roll around to get over it. It wasn't right on the ground. It was up there, so it had walked around the end closer towards the lake.
That
That
is
was
very
Yeah,
interesting.
it was way down there at it was all the way at the end of that log. It ran out there a little ways. The picture we're looking at.
That is outstanding.
What's funny is
Wow.
those tracks right there were the better. I'm not going to say the better ones to cast. They were the better looking tracks to the eye. I mean, one of them looked like a big Fred Flintstone foot. It was so goofy. I mean, look at it. It was goofy and blocky looking.
Yeah.
And but it really was. I was kind of shooting that back over somebody's shoulder, and it made it really made the front of it spread out a lot more than that. But I wanted to say this because Shelley was talking about those tracks. So we got one or two really, really good prints right there at that log. And the next really good ones were way on out there at the end, probably, gosh, what was
Oh,
it, 40 yards away?
Yeah.
Everything else had either been tracked up or there was enough leaves to where it just didn't leave. You could find impressions. You could tell where the trackway went, but we used our we used our cast on the most impressive ones, I think, which anybody would have done. But
hang
Oh
on,
yeah,
Debbie.
definitely.
Just while we're on here talking, Debbie just sent me pictures. Okay, let me share my screen here. Don't worry, Bama, you have clothes on. No, I'm just kidding.
oh God.
He's like, I don't know. So here's the picture
Oh,
right
that's
here.
cool. That's
That is
awesome.
something I've never seen.
Now here's what's interesting is, and I'm pointing at my screen like y'all can see where I'm pointing, but
We can see.
okay, I guess I was mistaken a minute ago. It was a left foot with a little one in front of it. What above that? There's actually there's a right footprint behind that one, and that's the one that gosh, we cast it last because the back half of it was so thin. We just, unless you build a mold around it, you wasn't going to take it. But I wanted to cast it, get a picture of it, and then take what we could of it. And what I realized is the reason it was so thin is because there was a rotten stick under the mud. And that thing had stepped on that stick. And when I got my hands down there under it, I could feel where that stick had bowed under the weight of whatever it was. So that's really
some nice investigative work there, sir.
Well, it made it look. Not only did it made it look super thin, but it really, whether a mid-tarsal break existed or whether somebody made this as a cast put onto their foot or something, that's really what made it look like that. So impressive. I mean, it just.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bama or Shelly, did any of you guys take your shoes off and try to do this yourself? Because that's something I would do when we're out there.
Yeah.
Bama, why didn't you do that?
I mean, I'm not saying you have to, but
Yeah,
that's something I do.
I was trying to keep my dog out of the mud.
Yeah. There were so many people out there milling around. We were talking. We were excited. No, I guess, yeah. Maybe at the time they were made, it was a little bit, because, it probably dried a little bit by the time we found them. It probably wouldn't.
Yeah, you can tell it's not like completely just, moist looking. It looks like it might be a little tough to punch through.
Well, if you see that greenish stuff on top there, if you were standing in that bay where we were at, it's like a funnel up in there, wasn't it, Shelley? I mean, the wind would white cap the water. Yeah. I mean, up in there. So and this was on the big Lake Barkley side. So it really blows a lot of silt and all kinds of junk up in there. So when I was looking at that, I imagine that water going down slowly. And that green stuff was almost like if you'd laid down a piece of saran wrap on top of it. I mean, when you put your foot down in it, you didn't pull mud up from those spots like that on the bottom of your feet. It stayed, exactly like that, even back then. But I think I think all of them we cast had probably filled up with water and drained at least once before we ever put any casted stuff in them.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to tell at the time frame,
But it made them look good. It made them look great.
They probably would have been there for a while. I mean, it looks like
you could probably go find those now. I bet.
Hey, let me ask you guys.
Some of the old ones that we didn't take, you could probably still go find those.
What was the the difference between prints? Did you guys happen to get that? Like the length, the measurement.
Shelly, got your paper plate?
I have my paper
Uh-oh.
plate. This is what
All right.
Jerry Pajerski wrote. This
Hell
is what
yeah.
we had. He wrote down. He was the one that did all the measurements.
Jerry Pajerski
Now we
sat there and wrote all those measurements on a paper plate.
Well, we have a picture of one also, and it looked like it was around 15. See, ours isn't as big as yours. Ours are 15 inches. So yours are bigger. Yours are bigger than ours. Let's see the
Man, I'm
width
going to
of
say so many things right now, but I'm just like,
I know. I keep looking at Shane, waiting for him to say something. I'm
don't
like,
do it. Don't do it.
It's hard, man. With it being Shelly, I want to say stuff too, but I'm not.
You're such a gentleman.
I know.
And
great
people
use of the mute button. So,
people keep asking us about the width apart, the distance from between the footprints. Well,
Right.
they were pretty close together, a few feet, because I'm assuming they were just, going around into that log, and it wasn't a full gate. So there is no.
It was a distance gaining walk. This was
Right.
I got to drop my kid off at the park for a little bit, fiddle fart around.
Yeah.
a leisurely stroll, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Brian. You're the one with the AC.
Yeah, that's me.
It's all that sweat, man, in Florida.
Man, it's hot down here, man. I ain't used to this. I'm ready to gotta get back to Oklahoma where I get an ice storm again.
So let me ask you guys this. So, and this is what happened to us. So we all split off from the day or the time we were out there. We go home. And then I would catch myself up late at night, still trying to process what the hell I just saw or what we just did. And it just kept me up like for a while, like days. I mean, I caught sleep, but like it just was on my mind 24/7. As soon as I woke up, boom, there it is, tracks. So has that affected you guys like that at all? Like, Bama, are you seeing footprints in your Cheerios?
I want Shelly to talk about it first.
Okay. Shelly?
Well, at first, like I said, it's disbelief. It's, you're like, oh, this is really cool. This is awesome. And then later on, it sinks in like, maybe this was kind of a bigger deal than I thought it was. You know what I'm saying? People are like, oh, that's so awesome. That's so cool. I'm like, I just stumbled across this. We collaborated and got it all logged in. But I guess I just kind of rolling with it. I don't know. I think it's awesome, but
Shelly, it was meant to be.
yeah, I guess.
Exactly.
It was.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you guys split up your cast. For us, we mud wrestled for ours to see who.
I was gonna say we farkled for it. This is Farkle.
No, we mud wrestled. Mud wrestling sounds much more entertaining. But some of us all, we all got one or two. I think I have 3 now. Shane's got a handful of them.
I've got 3.
But and I know Shane probably can agree with me on this. I still stare at mine. Like I still,
I get them out of
like to look at it. Yeah,
every day, just about and look at them and go, what?
Yeah, I mean it's just it's crazy. Like I mean I think about them, and it sounds so weird to say that. It's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you so obsessed with this? But I mean it is a big find.
It's something tangible.
Exactly. And finding tracks in the mud is one thing, but once you cast those things and you bring them home and you get them clean and they're sitting there on the table and you're just staring at them, I mean, it's a cool feeling because it's a great sense of accomplishment, first and foremost. But then you're just amazed, like the kid comes out in you and you're just like kind of lost in them. You start going through all these possibilities, like, I wonder how tall this thing was. And, you putting your foot next to it, you know what I mean? You're putting other people's feet next to it, I mean, I don't know.
Babies on top of them.
Exactly. I mean, you're comparing everything to it. So,
are you selling autographs now? That's the ultimate, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool thing. I mean, You guys should be very proud of yourselves.
Yeah,
you
you
know,
guys should. That's fantastic. I was
we
when
we
I
will
first saw
warn
what
you.
you guys were doing. I was like,
Yeah, we will warn you. The haters will come.
oh yeah,
Oh well.
You will get your dose of those. So
Yeah.
be
oh
ready
yeah.
for it. I mean,
Don't even go close to wood. They'll be like, oh my god, oh,
yes.
they were.
I mean,
I saw them looking at wood. They're probably wood cutouts.
exactly. I mean, you're going to catch so many off the wall. I don't want to say accusations, but off the wall comments and opinions of others, things like that. But just stay
I mean, they
focused on what
know.
you're doing. So
They've
yeah,
been in this community, so they know how
yeah.
it is.
It's
you
just
know?
insane. So
Well, it's so funny because somebody that was my whole thing was cast them. It must be Spencer.
sorry, I had to put that one up there. So
Oh, did you?
That's a good one.
I'm gonna have to delete every one of those.
I don't know who that is. It just says
You know
Facebook
who it
user.
is.
That's hilarious.
My whole
I'm
thing
sitting in
was-
his chair.
Ah, that guy.
My whole thing was, God, we have to cast them. I don't know if I think differently from most people, but I thought if our meet and greet had never existed, if we had never met up there or anything, would those tracks still be there? And that's just the way my mind works. And I just thought, would they still be there? Or and then you have all the other things. That's why I said we all more than mulled over the thing of, I mean, what are the chances? I mean, this is the biggest this isn't a fine. This is the biggest coincidence in the world that 30 Bigfoot people go to a camp out and there's some tracks. And we thought about that and just said, man, I think we'd really kick ourselves if we did. And,
Yeah.
that's Shelly and Debbie they really said, we're going to cast these. I didn't want to really, I'm nobody. I don't want to, I didn't want to throw my my hat in there. But,
I understand that.
But there's a few people that I know from our Bigfoot world. It's really a small community when you get down to it. But there's a few people on the spot when I stood there. They're the first people I thought about, and not what they would say, but I thought, man, I wish so and so. I sat there and said, some of you know Spencer Jameson. I thought, man, I wish Spencer was standing here.
I thought the
'Cause
same
we would-
thing.
Yeah, we'd sit there and cut that thing apart. But there was a few people that I thought, God, I wish they were here and could see this. Because I thought, if this is what it is, man, maybe this is the only time I get to see tracks this good. I keep saying that, and that was, and I'll kind of let it go at that. I was thinking this may be the closest I ever get to seeing one or being able to go. Now, Shelly's taken me to where she had her sighting because that was in Land Between the Lakes, and stuff's happened to me up there too. But, I'm one of those, romantic thinkers. I just thought, man, I might be standing on the bank here where one came out with a little one and, did all this deal and walked up through here. So,
Well, guys,
You got-
I do have one here if you want to see it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I have to move this. Mark grilled me about moving the mic. He said, don't hit that thing with the mic.
Mark.
Oh, gosh.
Well, there you go.
That's awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Big toe. Pretty big. Not
Yeah.
as big as yours, but it's big.
No, that's.
I don't think they're that big. I think you're using a fisheye lens.
Oh,
No.
Yeah, I wish we had something. I know a lot of people use plaster of Paris. That's all we had, but
Yep.
I would like to have something a little finer because it's kind of lumpy.
Yep.
But
You know
it's
what?
still.
I
And
got
when
a
you catch
question
these
for you.
things, it's like 50-50 chance all the time.
Now
Sorry.
on that big toe, you think that's the full length of the toe, or do you think that thing actually drug its toe a little bit as it was walking?
I don't
Because
know.
I'm
Do
just
we
saying,
know?
how it's so much taller than the rest of the toes. I'm just
Mhm.
wondering if as it was walking, did it drag its foot just a
Right.
little bit to make that, you know what I
I'm
mean, to drag
trying.
its big
Possibility.
toe?
You know what? We need to compare this. I can't remember right now the other cast that we took and see if the toe looks like this. I believe it looks like this on the other one.
Yeah,
I
think
would
that
love. Oh, go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
I was gonna
that
say, I
is
wonder if the left and right are the same, or if maybe that thing has a, like a, I
Yeah.
don't know, I don't want to say like a limp or a gimp, but you know what I mean. Just
Mhm.
that left foot doesn't come
Oh
up
yeah.
all the way, and it's just dragging that big toe.
Oh, I didn't know if you could see that. Right there in the middle is a
Mhm.
raccoon print.
a
Can you see
raccoon
it?
print
Can you
in the
see the little
middle of
Oh
the
raccoon
toe.
print
yeah.
right there?
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
don't tell me, how can you fake a print and put a little raccoon print in the middle of it?
I don't know. There's some people that have theories on putting stuff.
Oh, in
Oh
the middle
yeah,
of the track. Oops.
yes, yes.
Yeah, Brian, that is one of the two last tracks that were cast. And it was, gosh, maybe 2 inches deep. And I mean, gravel. It was like concrete underneath it.
Okay.
And I'm picturing it in my mind. That's one. That last right footprint was like on a lower part of a grade than the upper left footprint. I mean, you could see where it slipped in the mud, and you could see
Yep.
stuff like that. There's a few things that I will say that still make me wary or suspicious, but I'm looking at some well weathered tracks, so I wasn't going to beat us up too bad for Shelly going out rock hunting and finding some tracks. But I think that's why. I think that's why it looked. I think it's why it looked extreme like that on that one track. Because after those two tracks, man, it turned into gravel and up into the woods. And I think that was it. Isn't that right, Shelly?
Yeah.
Hey, Bama, you mentioned something earlier about the sun only hitting one side over there in that area. Is that the area you're talking about? So the side where the sun wasn't hitting so much, that's where the tracks were,
The
right?
side where all the tracks were at was on the
Uh-huh.
side where the sun didn't hit that much.
Okay.
But if you were walking that shoreline, and these were walking towards the mouth, they're walking towards the very narrow mouth of this bay before it. And I mean, when it opens up into Lake Barkley, I mean, there's barges and things come there. It's huge.
Mhm.
This was on out towards the mouth, and as the tracks got out there further, you could tell it got more and more sun on that part of that bank over there. Otherwise, that bank really curved up in there pretty deep, and I mean, I don't think it got much sun at all up in there. You could tell. I mean, they were going from deep to, more shallow, more shallow, more shallow. It's the that substrate underneath turned into gravel, and whatever the water washed up in there underneath there was really hard. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Shelly. So since there's a trackway going that way, and you guys kind of frequent the LBL, is this trackway going to put it on the map for you to kind of start dwindling down an area that you guys might look into more?
Yeah, LBL is so vast, and we've gone so many places, and we get things in different areas, and we've put a lot of audio, a lot of recorders out there, gotten a lot of audio. We're narrowing it down because to one certain area because I've had my sighting within 10, 15 miles.
Yeah.
There's other things going on, so yeah, it's that's probably somewhere we're gonna kind of concentrate. But do like to go to other places because, like, Bama has a spot that he's had things happen. So,
Oh,
Yeah, that was our hunting camp, and they went in there and dumped a dump truck load of dirt over my road going in there where you can't go back in there anymore.
Trying to kick you out, man.
Yeah. But
They do that.
gosh, LBL is huge, and it is just beautiful. Holy mackerel! It's just one. I just think it's one of the most beautiful places. Just because there's nothing there, there ain't no people there.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
So would you tell them, like, just because we cast tracks in around the same area, and we've broken it down into like winter, early spring is when they're there for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of the year is kind of blank. So would you think, personally, Brian, would you think like these tracks that they found, you think there's a repeat to them?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we have enough information to really make that call yet. You know what I mean? For us, we can because we found tracks through different period times of the year, so
In
we're able to
different
take
years.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over what 3-year period now.
Mhm.
So for us, we can take all of our information and kind of, I guess, fiddle it down a little bit and say, okay, this is when we think they're there because this is when we happen to find things. For the simple fact that we check our area so often. So we have enough no hits to know when we can hit, right?
Yeah.
So for them, I mean, they're probably coming to some similar conclusions because of, like Shelly said, they got some great audio, things like that. So I'm sure if they took a look at their audio in relation to these tracks, they'll probably start getting that same time frame down too, like we did. So,
Man,
but
I just
for
pictured
me, I
Larry
couldn't tell
Porch.
you. So
I just pictured Larry Porch riding on the back of one of these things out of the woods because they pinpointed its exact location.
I could totally see that.
But you know
Totally see
what?
it.
It could have been one of these fluke things. I know people are probably going to be flocking to LBL and look at all these places.
Oh
But
my God,
it could
they
have
are.
been one of these fluke things that they just happen to this time of the year. They go along when the water's low, go along the shoreline looking for the mussels. You know, there's always a lot out there.
Big muscles.
Yeah, and they probably just walked that. Who knows how far that shoreline? There's just so much there. So it was probably just one once in a lifetime thing. It would probably never happen again in that area. It could be somewhere else. You know, you just don't know.
I would say the exact same thing, Shelly, to keep people out of there. So that's a great tactic. But I'm telling you right now, Shane and I already have our kayaks loaded. We're already on
All
our
right,
way.
come
Ready.
on, let's go.
My Jeep says LBL or bust on the back right now.
Exactly. I mean, I am in Florida right now. I could just go ahead and head that way on my way to Oklahoma.
Hey, and
so.
Bama, I'm OCD too, so show me exactly where you camp so I could camp there exactly the way you did.
Yes, yeah. And I don't know if you guys use watercraft like we do. That's one of the reasons why we kind of move into the kayaks and canoes because, like you said, you found this thing going along the edge of the water. Well, for us, that's when we would have hit the water and, hey, you guys go this way, you guys go this way, see if you see any more tracks along this bank. So, I mean, we utilize the watercraft, I mean, as much as we can. So
The banks tell stories for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing about LBL this time of year is, man, they let the water way down. I've gone to my old campsite before, and there'd be 30 yards of beach, down through there. And man, that's the first thing I do. But I'm looking for deer tracks, and just whatever. But yeah, if this cove where these tracks were at hadn't have been next to our campsite, like y'all said, somebody like in a kayak or somebody on a flat bottom type boat would have been the only ones to ever get up in there. And even then, they'd have probably been slogging mud. I don't know if I would have, as much junk was over there, I don't know if I'd ever even noticed. That's like,
Yeah.
because I'm like anybody else. I'm asking Shelly over and over, well, how'd you find them? Well, what was you doing? Well, how'd this happen? Well, I don't know. I just looked down. That's the way it happens.
yeah, exactly.
So it is what it is.
So now that you guys have seen these, right, and you've looked at, I'm sure you guys all stared at them like crazy. I would have. So now you have to ingrain this in your brain to look for this kind of size, depth, sort of thing. Because I've walked past stuff like that. And Brian, he shows up 15, 20 minutes later, same area, and he finds what I didn't, So you have to train your brain.
Yeah, we've talked about that, about, just that you can't see it even it's in front of you because it doesn't exist, right? And so to me, and this is just strictly my theory on it, and I may just be another idiot from Oklahoma, but like I think sometimes our brains just can't process what we're looking at because it's not real. Like when we saw our first 20-inch track, I swear to you guys, I called these guys back and I'm staring at it. And Kendall Bray was with us. And I go, "What is that?" And Kendall's like, That's a track." And I'm looking at it. I mean, I'm 2 feet away and I'm staring at it going, "That's not a track. That can't be a track. It's too big." We found the 16s there, but this is way too big. And he keeps telling me, "Brian, it's a track. It's a track," and we cast it. I head back, start cleaning off. I'm still looking at it. It's still not real to me. So, and then once we get that in our head, and I think this is the same thing as far as visual, like I think a lot more people probably do see these when they're in the woods and they catch it out of the corner of the eye and they go, "What was that?" And then their brain tells them that they saw a shadow or they saw something else and they go on about their day. It happened to me on the very first time we was in bison, our area. I mean, I know what I saw now after having a good visual, a close visual. I know that first one at night was what I saw, but in that moment, I talked myself out of it because it's not real. Even though I'm chasing this thing and looking for this thing, and I know in my heart it's real, my brain doesn't know it's real. So my brain can't comprehend it. But I think once we look at these tracks and we get that in our head, I think we'll find them a lot easier. And I think that's kind of led to some of our success for us, is because now we've all seen them, so we know exactly what we're looking for when we're going through these creek bottoms and looking around and stuff. I mean, they're popping out to us a lot better. So, but like I said, that's just my own theory on it, and I may be wrong. And I mean, I think I was wrong once before, but I might have been wrong about that. Who knows? So,
And I think part of it's being skeptical. I'm not going to say, "Oh gosh, look at that. I think a Bigfoot did that." You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I think something did that. Whatever. It's always that skepticism of, all right, now that looks funny, but you have to exclude everything else first, and then but it still probably isn't that.
yep,
Yeah, like I think it was January of 2019 when there was as they said in Three Amigos, a plethora of tracks. And I was like, okay, man, where the hell is Steven Spielberg or Michael Bay or some shit? Someone's messing with us, But
That was my first thought. That's the first thing that hit my brain.
Right?
Was I kind of
like,
I was kind of I wasn't mad. I think I told somebody, I said, man, I'd be a weird kind of disappointed in somebody that did that.
Yeah.
Something else, Shelley, if you'll touch on this, somebody was asking about this. The big rocks that were flipped over around the corner there after you broke out into the sun.
Yeah, I didn't. Did you go see those? I didn't see the big rocks around the cove.
That was, yeah. After you went out of that little inlet and you went on around the corner there, where it just gets all the light. It turns into. No, it's hard to walk on those banks there with those rocks. But I want to say some of the people. Somebody was just asking about it, that's why I was saying.
Yeah.
Somebody said there were some pretty big rocks flipped over there. Along with all those mussel shells and stuff we found those in a pile. I think Debbie found a pile of those things.
Yeah. Debbie's found those before. So there'll be a big pile. Those mussel shells can be they're
Oh,
huge.
that's a
they were
good
big.
size amount of
Yeah.
protein right there.
Yes, and she's found those. Of course, we found them broken open on the lake bed, but she has found a pile of, I don't know, 20 or more. I guess I don't remember the exact number. Same thing. They were just piled up, and they were not near the water source. So what could carry a pile of shells of mussels over there and open them? I don't know. Raccoon, maybe? I don't know. But and then somebody had got, I think it was Larry and Jerry Pajerski and was it Scott Espinoza went around, yeah. And
They
yeah,
went around the corner there.
and saw the shells cracked open and touch it. What am I touching?
That is not this kind of show, people. Yes, there's alcohol, but my God, have some couth.
Yeah, they came back. They did go around after we found the tracks. The guys went up. There's a ridge on that side. Went up around there and found, the shells, the mussel pile of shells, and we looked around some more. And when Patrick and we had walked down the shoreline and found the tracks, and we went back up. There's a ridge there. We went back up through the woods when we went back just to kind of look around, see if there was anything else up there. Of course, there's leaf litter everywhere. You're not going to find anything necessarily up in there, but we did go through there. We did look around the area some more.
Very interesting. I love it. I just love that you guys found these. That's
I haven't. We haven't really talked about it that much.
so. What was camp time like at the fire that night? That had to have been great, right?
I don't, Shelley. None of us really talked about it that much, did we?
Now everybody's like, "Oh, that's awesome."
One night they called. Who was they called? Doug Schroeder, and just called him on the phone. And but otherwise, nobody was sitting around the campfire, talking about. And even after they were cast, we let them sit there, cast on. Nobody's talking about, hey, there's a whole huge, trackway we've cast over there right now. I don't know. It's like you said. Even if you believe in it, you're just looking at those prints going, I mean, really, can we really get away with this type of coincidence happening here and us casting these things? But yeah, nobody really talked about it. You would think that we would have, around the campfire, that would be all we talked about. But there were too many personalities, at that meet and greet for us to, everybody had all kinds of stories to tell.
Yeah, because all you guys were just coming together as a collective and seeing names that match faces, and then the tracks, and you're like, what's gonna happen next? Is Lyle Blackburn gonna fly in on a Mothman and pass out t-shirts? What the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
And I'm glad they were there. I mean, some of those people are new, have never done it before. They're experienced or whatever. And they got to see them too. Like, how awesome is that?
What an experience. Oh my God.
And that was that was my thing, is when we decided to pick, take the cast up or collect them or whatever. I just said, and here's what's something. This is really something. We had a man and a woman. They literally drove, 7 or 8 hours. They drove 7 or 8 hours to stay one night, and they stayed in their vehicle. And the man was even on an oxygen machine.
Wow.
So he wasn't out really trekking around or doing anything. They just came to, well, his wife slogged all the way across there through all that mud that everybody went through. And man, she went over there and got into the tracks. And I told somebody, I said, man, it sounds kind of stupid, but man, let anybody come over here now that it's done and we've got it cast. Let anybody come over here and look at these things, put their hands on them and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, this may be the only time you get to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, somebody said that Doug had saw our live video and called us. He was pretty valuable on this. But yeah, that's the way I'm thinking about it. Is, you know, if somebody punked us, well, shame on you. If this is a real thing, then I felt I didn't feel worthy of you know the stuff, the tasks they put me to, getting those things up. But man, I'm glad I had a part in it.
You did, sir. Bama, you did good, sir.
That's right.
I like how when Brian talks, it's like.
Yeah.
Is it real loud when I talk?
No, it's the background stuff. It's funny.
Well, I turned the air conditioner on, but Renee just came back in here, so she turned it back on. So I was trying to get her to come over and co-host with me, but she wouldn't do it.
Oh,
so she's just staring at me now awkwardly. So.
wow.
Oh, here she comes. Never mind. So.
Hey, Renee.
Looky there. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Hey.
Thank you. I was so nervous today. It was so embarrassing.
Come on, no.
I was so embarrassing.
How'd you do it, man? How'd you do it?
Dude, so we're here in the Florida Keys, and we went to this restaurant that had this huge, like, a pier that goes out and it splits. And so we walk out there because it's the sun's setting. It's just perfect, right? I'm trying to hit it perfect time, trying to be Mr. Romance here. And she's laughing at me. And so we get out there. Well, she's ready to eat. Like, she ain't got time for this nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't want to stare. Yeah, she don't want to stare at water anymore.
Poking shrimp. What are you doing?
Exactly. So she's trying to run off, and I'm trying to wait for the sun to come under this cloud just right. Like, I'm waiting for the moment. Well, on my way out there, I get real nervous because I think, what if I drop this ring? I'm on a dock, right? Like, what if it falls through the boards? Like, I'm gonna have to scuba Steve this thing here in a minute, right?
Michael Phelps.
Yeah, so we come around there, finally, I knew she was getting ready to bounce on me, so I just had to go into my little speech and sell myself real quick, and that was it. The rest was history. So.
Awesome.
Great.
Good job, man.
Thank you. So yeah, that's the loud noises. We're back in the room with the AC running. So.
My wife already asked if you guys are getting married at Squatch Creek.
I would, if I did, I'd probably get divorced at Squatch Creek. So I gotta be smart about how I do this. Of course, she's into Bigfoot, so this makes it so much easier.
Yes.
I mean, she's always with us when we do a lot of this stuff, but no, we're not gonna get married at Squatch Creek. Maybe bison. No.
There you go, man.
No, we'll see. So
Shelly and Bama, who has the little ones tracks? Did y'all cast those? Didn't y'all cast those?
We cast a few of those. What we had enough
Cool.
for. I've got them.
So have you cleaned them all off and stuff, or?
Yeah, we've done that, but the small ones,
mm-hmm.
I haven't really looked at them really closely yet. I'm still in shock. They aren't as defined. I think it's the plaster that it's just not very detailed. It's almost chunky.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want
to. You know what? You guys came across tracks. You and Debbie did some Thelma and Louise stuff out looking for plaster. Hell bent for leather. Came back.
Had our arms up out the top of the car.
Yeah. Jumped the gorge right into the prints where the prints are, and started casting prints. And that's all you could do. And hey, good job. It's people that do this for decades and never come across a track ever. So I always look at this as like a blessing. Like, wow.
Exactly.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. I'm stoked for you guys, as you can see.
Yeah, thanks. We're in y'all's league now.
Oh wow!
Oh, we're not in any kind of league. We're just a couple of goofballs who.
Yeah, we just like run around in circles, chasing each other's tail in the woods.
Exactly.
No, I'm just kidding.
Running around, punching
But
ourselves in
isn't
the
it
head.
fun? It's so much, I just love
It's a
being with the
blast.
people.
Yeah, I know.
That's it. That's it right there. Is the It's all the people. So
Yeah, these are my best friends, that I've had, my whole life. So, and common interest, looking for monsters in the woods. Come on,
Yeah, it's awesome.
it's the best. So cool. I'd like to get together with you guys sometime and like look at your tracks. I would love to look. I like to look at anybody's tracks.
I would like to bring our tracks to them.
Yeah, that too.
and put them side by side and do a
I
little
just want,
comparison on them.
yeah, I want to look at anatomy, like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
that'd be great.
what's going on in Kentucky? Why they got to have this going on in their feet in Kentucky, or whatever,
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, sounds awesome. We can meet in the middle or
Yeah,
or
sure.
plan something or whatever. So
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Do like an open invite from both groups, and
Oh wow,
Oh,
and
yeah.
let everybody in the group come and look at all the tracks. So
that would be
Yeah,
fun.
that'd be awesome.
I'd be game for that. So
Yeah,
It might be a little ways out though, because we don't know what's going to happen in the near future
Yeah,
as
know.
far as groups getting together. They could shut down the campgrounds again for all
I
we know. I don't know. So,
hey,
we'll meet somewhere off the grid. Yeah,
yeah,
it'll be all right.
yeah.
if they shut down all these campgrounds and national forests, like shut them down, maybe the population of these things will go up.
Explode.
yeah.
There's no more humans. Woo!
Yeah. And that's why I think those were there, because they were so close to the campground. And I'm guessing that, it's getting later in the year and they know that. They know people don't go camping in the fall as much or whatever. They just, I don't know. Just one of those things that I don't know what they're thinking. That
Yeah.
people
Well,
aren't
there is a
around and
big
I'm going to walk through here.
Yeah.
There was a big old dumpster in the campground too, and they may come over there and dumpster dive.
Possible.
There's one guy that was there with us. He probably spends way more time at LBL than any of us, but he said, yeah, I camp here all the time. He goes, normally it's pretty packed, uh, so those are some of the other things that was going through my mind. Is if somebody goes, well, why would it come over here with all these people? Well, there wasn't really that many people there. It was just us. But the other thing is I don't know, go dig through the dumpster if you wanted to, right?
Yeah.
I'm treating it like a bear site in here. That's what is what I'm trying to do. Treating it like we cast some bear prints.
All right, so I've got someone asking me, how do y'all copy cast? Well, I have failed twice at that using liquid latex. I do have a guy that can do it perfectly, but the only thing is I have to ship it to him, and that scares the hell out of me because it's irreplaceable. Essentially, So I'll look at. Do you know anybody, Shelly or Bama?
I was just wondering if you could use it's like silicone. You know how they do like people's hands or their face or whatever. I haven't researched it yet. I'm still in shock, but and trying to get the shows done and videos and all that. But I want to research it further. But like some silicone or I don't know. But we are going to make copies.
Somebody could
cool.
Maybe try a 3D printer on it or something.
Oh.
Whoa.
Now that would be cool.
And if you did it on a 3D printer, then of course it would come out. You could have it come out as a hard plastic, so you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Super light.
Yeah.
That filament that they use is pretty durable too.
Maybe somebody can donate some money to one of our groups and get us a 3D printer.
Dang.
Now you're talking. There we go.
Santa Claus, Bama wants a 3D printer.
For the few tracks that we have cast.
Hey, I'll put that in my letter to Santa, dude. I'm gonna hook you up, bro. Bama wants the Bama section.
I wouldn't know how to use the thing if I got it. What a Shelly.
I don't know. You probably would. You're pretty smart.
Figure the thing out.
You're pretty smart.
But no, I would love to get a copy of
Oh yeah.
maybe two of them. There's the last right and left footprint. I'd probably like to have a copy of just to, they sure would take up a lot of room on a dresser or on a fireplace hearth or something though. But I'd
They're
like to
cheek
have a couple of
magnets.
them.
You put them out on your coffee.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Hey, it worked for me. Don't laugh.
Ah,
That's better than a guitar, isn't it?
Yeah, I have one of those too. So
Oh, you're the whole package.
man.
that's what she says.
Oh,
She's across the room now. She ain't really listening to me. So she's
Somebody
bored.
threw out- yeah.
She's bored of my antics already. So.
that happens. My wife's over there. Every once in a while, she'll peek over here. Well, I'm going to say the 2020 award for the best meet and greet of the year goes to you guys.
For sure.
And you can't get any better than that right there. Those people
Awesome.
met you guys and they went home going, wow. You know, that's cool.
Yeah, and if anybody, I just want to say, if anybody thinks I hoaxed it, thank you for the compliment because that was
I know,
really
right?
good.
Are you wearing Adidas?
Thanks for upping my intelligence there because that was an awesome hoax. I don't know if I can pull that off.
So yeah, at any future meet and greets,
Oh,
you're
be
not
sure to watch Shelly when she says she's going to look rocks.
We're not going to guarantee that anybody finds any tracks.
That's right.
Or sees anything. Or,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh goodness. Well, you guys have anything else you want to talk about or bring up or promote or?
I just want to say thanks for having us on.
Yeah, sure.
Because we really hadn't told the story that much. I don't know if we think that we're kind of in our own little Bigfoot world or something, but we hadn't really talked about that much. I mean, believe it or not, when we're as a group together, we do stuff, but otherwise we kind of have our own lives. We don't really, I may text somebody once a month or something, but
Yeah.
man, I really appreciate you having us on where we could, kind
Yeah.
of explain it to some.
Oh, we had to hear this.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about it as soon as we saw your video. Shane
I was
and I
like, oh
talked
my
about it.
God, this is outstanding.
That's what we did with y'all. We've got to have them on.
Oh, wow.
So I really appreciate it. I appreciate you letting us, tell
Yeah,
it.
sure.
And
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, for real. I mean, it's just shed a light on all this for me, especially with the smaller tracks too. That's just. I mean, Brian, I wish we would have had plaster back on that Mountain Fork River trip. We were very green. So
Yeah, we
nothing.
didn't have anything with us, so
We're like, we're not gonna look at us. We're in the woods.
yeah, we were just
whoa.
happy. We were just happy to be in the woods.
Yeah,
We had
And
like
that's
a
when you
couple
find
audio recorders. Yeah, exactly.
I know it.
You're right.
When
You're
your
right.
recorder's not on, that's when you hear that howl.
Or you
Exactly.
get one howl like I did, and then not get the other 50 the entire night because you move your recorder. So
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh well, you live and learn.
It happens. Yeah.
yep, that's for sure.
Technology is not always reliable. I'll say
So,
that.
it ain't
But
my
it's-
friend. So
That's the experience, though. You can always say, I don't care if you believe me or not. This is what happened. I believe it. So, and
Yep.
I have to plug our channel. If I didn't,
Yeah.
for watch Beast TV. It's a Sawdust Beast on YouTube on Thursday nights at 8 Central Standard Time. We have great guests every week. We've had you guys on. Love to have you on again sometime.
Sure.
And also Larry's channel, Beast of the Woods. Anything else, Bam? I can't think of anything else. I'll probably think
I'm
of it.
sure
when
most people on here, know about our Facebook page.
Yeah, Facebook
Good
page.
stuff. There's a lot of good stuff on there.
I will say that I love y'all's show. I love the format. I love.
Yeah, me too.
I do.
Yep. And it was a lot of fun being on there too. So
Yeah. Yeah. Mark's worked really, really hard. Hey,
There's
who's
who's your squatch?
he was there? Awesome guy.
Hey, who's your-
Mark works really, really hard. I'm serious. Y'all don't see. Y'all should see his desk. He spends so much time on this because he wants it to look as professional as possible. So,
Well, that's
and I think he
done.
does a great job.
yeah, it
Yeah.
shows. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, unlike Shane and I, we just kind of
Oh, I'm a clown.
yeah.
I
we
love
just,
it though. It's
we
so
just come on
relaxed.
here and we're drinking and cussing, and I mean it's just yeah. It's like hide the kids. Shane and Brian are on. You know?
Oh man, here they come.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
y'all probably don't fight like me and Mark do because we have a difference of opinion. It's like on
Yeah,
production sometimes.
I love Mark's delivery when he's just asking questions and stuff. It's like, oh, I want to answer it. Me, but I'm not on the show, so. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, you guys.
No, I don't think Shane and I have ever argued about anything on the show.
I don't think we've argued about anything.
I don't think so either. And Shane and I, you know how you guys said you have your own lives. Shane and I don't have our own lives. We we really don't.
Oh my God.
We literally talk
Every
probably
day.
almost every day.
Every
Yeah,
day.
every day. So yeah, we don't have our own lives.
I'm like, damn it!
Where
I
you
got
see Shane, you see
my
Brian,
best friend
and
lives
vice
in
versa.
Oklahoma. Damn it!
Wait,
Yeah.
this
I
is
live
a
in Texas.
bromance? Is this a bromance like Mark and Larry?
Oh, this is a total bromance.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all
Yeah,
right. That's
yeah.
cool.
And our
Maybe-
women say it all the time.
Maybe me and Brian and Mark and Larry could double bromance date, but not date, but like hang out and drink some beers.
That'd be a mega bromance. That'd be like divided by zero. The world would just implode. So,
Oh my God! We
Yeah.
split an atom right there. Oh my gosh!
yeah.
Holy crap! That's ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Renee just chimed in and said that Jen, Shane's wife, is her bromance. So
Oh, there you go.
I guess they got each other. So it works out.
They probably need each other.
And I don't know who that is that loves the SBA guys, but we love you too.
We love you
That's
too.
Debbie Jones.
Oh, yeah, we love Debbie.
We love
Yeah,
Debbie.
for sure.
Yes.
She's my bromance.
Oh, there you go. All kinds of love. Bama, what do you got? Oh, what?
Bama loves everybody.
I know. He's a dude I'd like to hang out with, man. This dude's pretty chill out there.
I was trying to look at the chat, see what kind of shenanigans were going on.
Shenanigans.
All
Yeah.
kinds of shenanigans.
Shelley hates Mark. Yeah, most of the time I do. No, I'm kidding. I don't. We get along great. We just have strong personalities.
Hey, man, and that's what makes your show great.
There you go, Bama. You have moose.
Moose.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, he's a sweetie.
Seriously, sometimes I'll go a week. That's the only living thing I speak to is the dog.
Hey, man, you're animals. They're your
Yeah.
buds. Yeah. What's up, Joe? Joe De Hoyos? Lots of great folks on here tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Oops. Oh, well, thanks for coming on and giving us this. That is great. I can't wait to see the tracks.
Yeah, me too.
We're going to inspect them a little more, look at them,
Yeah.
talk with some people about them, research it a little more. But yeah, they'll be coming out. We'll be exposing them a little more. We've got. I just want to sit on it for a minute and take it all in, look at them.
Mhm.
But
Yes.
yeah, we'll put them out there. But I appreciate you guys having us on. It was so much fun. I can't wait to
Yeah,
get to
thank
share
you.
a campfire with you guys.
Well, I can't wait. That's going to be great.
It's going to be insane.
Yep.
Yeah. Hi, Joe. Okay. Well, what do you think, Brian?
I'm good if you guys are good. Like I said, I just want to thank you guys for coming on and hanging out with us and,
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, because
dealing with us, I guess. So
yeah,
Thanks,
God.
guys.
we're not the easiest people to deal with. So
Oh, yeah, we're a dream. It was fun.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Oh, well, thank you.
Yes.
well, thank you, my lady. Too many
I'll see you later,
IPAs.
guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody be safe. Everybody listening, be safe. Get out in the woods.
There you go.
Get out in the
See
woods.
y'all.
Yes, sir. See you,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Bye.
See you, bud.
Thanks.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night,
Good
Shelly.
night.
Oh.
And then there's just us.
Nah,
Here
it
we
was
are.
good, man.
Yeah.
It's just you want everybody to like come across stuff in the woods, you know. You, ah,
We're still live
this-
though, right? Okay.
yes, we are still live.
Okay. I didn't know Jen knew
Yes,
that.
we are still live.
Yeah.
This- oh my God! Get out of here!
I bet she didn't
She's
realize that.
serious. She didn't.
Yeah.
That's
She heard the good
wow.
nights, but she didn't realize that, yeah, we were saying good night to them, not to each other.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
She just
So.
knows.
Okay.
Hey, that was a good show, though.
It was
Loved
fun.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. Like I was saying, I want everybody to, see stuff like that in the woods. It
Yeah, I
just
agree.
it gives you a different sense, But
Yeah.
we just keep on
That's
looking, man.
That's it, man. Hoosier Squatch said for us not to pick our nose. Yeah. I mean, we would do that anyways. You know what I mean? Not because we thought we
Yeah.
were off the air. That's just normal for us. Joe said good night. That he loves us. Love you, Joe.
Love you, bud.
We need to get Joe on one of these days.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know? A lot of people may not know,
Completely.
but Joe was a founding member of SBA with us.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if a lot of people know that or not. So we need to get him on. So
Joe
I'm not sure
is in the know.
That's right. Joe knows SBA. And then somebody really enjoyed the show. Not sure who that is, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. So,
all right.
Hey, yeah, we'll talk about this afterwards. I had something else I was going to point out to you, but we'll talk. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it in private.
Okay.
So, all right, man. Well, I'm good. So,
okay.
All
See
right,
you guys
buddy.
in 2 weeks. 2 and 2, like Chuck Woolery.
No.